G'day guys, how's it going? This is Broadcasting Because with another episode of the Fremantle Dockers AFL Live Season Mode, and today we come up against the ladder leaders in the Western Bulldogs. Now a win against these guys would really set our season on track as we surge toward the final series. Just the one change in our lineup from last time around, with Stephen Hill unfortunately dropping out due to that hamstring injury. He will miss 2 games due to that injury he picked up in our last match, which is pretty unfortunate. Nick Lower comes in for him and he settles in on the bench with Anthony Morabito getting the start. Well, coming up against the ladder leaders is difficult at the best of times, and knowing the Western Bulldogs' form this season, it was going to be very difficult to score against this team. Their halfback was extremely good, and Shaun Higgins was deadly in this first quarter. He took the first mark in their forward 50 with about 5 minutes played, walks back and kicks the first goal of the game. He is such a dangerous player, Shaun Higgins, if you allow him to get free. And in what was a very tight first quarter, there weren't very many chances to score. Their halfback line really made it difficult for us to penetrate deep inside our own forward 50, and their bounce-off halfback was just as deadly. I can see why they've been winning so many games and they're playing like this. Wallace forces a 2-on-1, gets the mark, Shawnee Higgins drops off, gets the handball and sends it long and straight as well to kick his second goal of the game about halfway through the first quarter. Another thing we struggled with in this game, and we have done really throughout the season as well, has been picking a target out of the kick-in. It tries to bomb it long, but the mark is picked off and finds Shawnee Higgins, who walks back and kicks a very nice goal. That is a screamer. That's no easy feat by any means. And all of a sudden, once again, shrugs the tackle and finds Robert Murphy in the forward 50. Probably lucky for Riverton not to give away a 50 there. Thankfully, Murphy couldn't make him count and pokes it to the right. The scoreboard really tells the story of how dominant the Western Bulldogs were over us in this first quarter. They kick another goal with 4 to play and they're 25 points up, a quarter of the century over us before the first quarter is even over. We need something to change. We get a quick kick into the 50. Jack Anthony marks about 49 metres out, kicks from 53 and slams it home for our first goal of the quarter, our first goal of the game, and all of a sudden we get our mojo back. Mickey Bolo throws it on the left and kicks another with a minute to play. In the space of 2 minutes we kick 2 quick goals and we're right back in the game. 4 touches to Higgins, Minson, Cross, Barlow and Johnson, all getting a decent amount of the ball in the first quarter. Well, the problems that were there for us in the first quarter did not go away in the second quarter. Getting the ball past our 50-metre arc was very difficult, considering the number of men that the Bulldogs pushed back and just crowded around that 50-metre arc. Made it very difficult to get deep into our forward 50, and with a couple of handballs they were well and truly away. McFarlane getting out in front of Grant and forcing the spoil, but it wasn't long until they were back inside their forward 50. Grant regathers, sends it to Griffin, who's on his own, absolutely unmanned, decides to take it quickly and makes us pay by kicking the big 6. We just had no answer to their bounce off halfback, and we needed to get a score on the board just to try and counteract some of the pressure. And who else was it going to be? It's Matthew Pavlich that steps up and kicks the goal for us in response, but once again it was not long until their pressure got the best of us, sending it back long in towards Patrick Vespremi, but Grant cuts it out and takes the mark, and well, yeah, it sort of is a 50-metre penalty, but I think he played for it a little bit, Vespremi, and Grant kicks the goal from point blank, making no mistake, and forcing the margin up to 20 points once again. Well, finally, at long last, we get some decent running carry coming off the halfback. The ball is sent long up towards Aaron Sandilands, who curls it around his body and finds Matthew Pavlich on the chest. End-to-end football, culminating when the Pav kicks the goal. Great stuff to bring us within 2 goals at the half-time break. 9 touches to Daniel Cross, who is absolutely tearing it up. We are really having trouble stopping him. Murphy and Higgins very dangerous as well, and they are doing the job. Now have a look at this tackling effort from Greg Broughton. Makes the tackle on Vespremi, intercepts the goal attempt, but he can't quite clear the ball away. The 2-on-1 was just too much for him, and in the third quarter the Bulldogs started to kick away. Patrick Vespremi was very dangerous. He kicked the first 2 goals of the third quarter, and the pressure on our defence was immense. You can see the difficulties we had clearing it out of our defensive 50, I should say. Grant takes yet another mark inside forward 50, this time once again from pretty much point blank range, he lines up, walks in and kicks the goal to extend the margin to 29 points halfway through the third quarter. The Bulldogs shot it down a bit from that point on, but they had one final attempt on goal, which Shawnee Higgins converted, extending it to 31 points. And right on the stroke of the three-quarter time siren, Jay Van Berlo turns 180 degrees, can't miss in the open goal face, and slams it into the post. And at three-quarter time, we are 5 goals down. Murphy, Cross, and now Liberatore getting some of the ball, tearing it up for the Bulldogs, and we just struggled so much to get the ball offensively. Ballantyne gets a shot, it sprays a bit. In fact, it is Pavlich, but he gets a push in the back and makes the most of it the second time round by kicking the goal to bring us back within 24 points. But it was always going to be a difficult margin to overcome. But it's not out of our range. Nick Subin takes the mark inside the centre square, I should say, and finds Nat Fyfe in a 2-on-1, standing tall, has the chance, waits for Sandilands to run in, walk in. But nevertheless, he finds the big man who kicks the goal, and all of a sudden we are right back in this game. We are alive and fighting. The Bulldogs don't know what's hit them. Dave Mundy tries to curl it around the corner towards Hayden Ballantyne, but you see their defence standing strong once again, and we had the opportunity to bring ourselves within 10 points, or at least within 11 points I think it would have been, but Grant takes the mark inside forward 50. Once again, he was the most dangerous player on the ground for the Bulldogs as far as I was concerned, and despite having the chance to pretty much call the game and to kick the winning goal, he sprayed it from a very close range there. And although we had our chances to try and bring ourselves back into the game, with Chris Mayne taking a chance there with a curler from a very tight angle, the clock did run out, and the final score, as they scored a behind right on the final siren, actually just before the siren went, it was a rush behind to the Bulldogs. Paul Duffield kicks out from the goal square, but the final score, Western Bulldogs run out winners at Etihad Stadium, 10-8-68 to 7-7-49 for the travelling Dockers. Look at those possession stats for Robert Murphy, 17 touches, an amazing effort from him, 4 goals to Shawnee Higgins. For the Dockers, 10 possessions to Mickey Barlow, Adam McPhee and Sandilands as well, 3 goals to Pav and 2 to Jack Anthony as well. Well, we take a look at the ladder now with 12 rounds of the season played, and we have slipped down to 4th position due to that loss, and are now percentage inside at the top 4, well away from Geelong. The Western Bulldogs are still on top. I didn't actually know St Kilda were that close to them. They are just percentage outside top spot at the moment, and Hawthorn settling in there at 3rd position as well. I know I haven't shown it in a little while, but that's because it's a little bit ridiculous. The Coleman medal race looks like this. Matthew Pavlich is a mile in front at 37 goals for the season so far, and coming second is actually Aaron Sandilands, who's kicked 19 goals as well. He's above the likes of Lance Franklin, Jason Portpleasure and all those guys as well. Ruckman, I'm sorry to say, are so overpowered in this game, but he's doing the job for us, and a very good one at that. Well, for choosing player of the game, I had to ask myself who actually had a good game, and I couldn't really come up with many people, so I thought, okay, who fulfilled their role and did their absolute best for the circumstances, and I had to go with Matthew Pavlich. He kicked 3 goals with 6 touches, 3 marks as well, and it was a very difficult game for our forwards, and I think he did his absolute best in the circumstances. A well done to the captain, stepping up when we need him. And for goal of the week, I decided to go with this one from Michael Barlow. After Spillici throws it on his right at the end of the first quarter, and it sails through, just creeping inside the post from about 45 metres out. That is by no means an easy feat. Go down to the park and try and replicate that. That is a very nice goal from Michael Barlow at an important time when we needed it as well. Well, that is the end of this episode of the Fremantle Dockers AFL Live Season Mode, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. Unfortunately, we couldn't get up over the Western Bulldogs, and we will probably be meeting them in the finals in some point as well, so that could just be a peek inside the final series in the future. Next time around, we come up against Collingwood at the MCG. That is going to be a tough fixture, that is for sure. Be sure to watch out for when that episode lands. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers, and stay tuned.